This meet here in Richmond, Virginia marks the first major competition in a long while on U.S. soil where the field did not include any athletes coached by either the great Bela Karolyi or the famous Steve Nuno. We took this opportunity to get better acquainted with some of the coaches who are here. During much of the 80s, gymnastics was personified by the larger-than-life presence of arguably the best coach in the world, Bela Karolyi. This Romanian native produced such greats as Kim Zmeskal, the world all-around champion, and Olympic gold medalists Mary Lou Retton and Nadia Comaneci. When Shannon Miller performed in Barcelona, it was Steve Nuno, a Karolyi apprentice, who received the credit. These two coaches have enjoyed the lion's share of the media spotlight for over 10 years, simply because of the success achieved by their students. With neither of these men entering athletes in these World Team trials, we took the opportunity to ask some of the other coaches present if they feel overshadowed by their better-known peers.
I guess I don't feel like I've ever been denied the limelight, because every time she's in it, I feel like I'm in it with her. It is a very much a two-way street for us. It's a partnership in coaching, and I just know her so well. Whether we get more media or press, I don't know.
Well, the reputation of Nuno and Karolyi is not that of a partner, but that of a benevolent dictator, or in some cases a Svengali. Is this women coaches different from men coaches, or are we talking about two unique cases here?
I think all men are different than all women, so I think we have a unique way of coaching and trying to relate to our athletes.
I do think it's difficult for a woman. There's just an image in women's gymnastics that the men are more powerful. And people like Kelly Hill and myself, we stick together a lot in a lot of situations. But I do think that we're getting recognized more for our work. You know, our product is in our athletes, and you know, I feel like I get respect now, but you have to earn it.
Without the females in this country who are really boosting, I feel, the performance level, I don't think the USA team would be at the height that it is. And that goes right down the line. There's some very strong programs that the male coaches are getting all of the recognition, but in that same program there is a female that is really directing the show.
The bottom line for these coaches is the athletic and personal well-being of the young women in their care.
A coach in gymnastics is a different sort of creature, especially if you have one coach or two. So you're a teacher and a mentor, and you're a choreographer, and then in the end you're also a meet coach. So our sport's kind of difficult that way. But very practically speaking, you have to get the job done, and every coach develops his or her personal style, and they do it. And the people who succeed are those that do have a style, and they know how to get the job done their way. And so even though it might not be your style, you go, well, it's successful, that's good. The only other criteria, I think, is that they're young women. They're not just things to be manipulated. The only time I have a problem is when I feel that that young women are not being allowed to gradually become more independent and to develop their lives along with their sport.
Here's the man himself, Steve Nuno, the coach of America's most credentialed gymnast in history. Steve, we're glad to have you join us here.
Thank you, John.
How is Shannon? What's the story with her?
She's doing great, actually. She's well rested, and she's, for the first time, feeling pretty good about herself after the kind of a loss at the national championships, but she had a stress fracture in her shin, and it's feeling really good right now, so she's enjoying gymnastics.
She's okay now. Is she going to Germany with the U.S. team?
Well, I think it's probably in her best interest not to go, because one of the things that we were trying to find out with this trials was to make sure the USA was going to send a very healthy, strong team. It looks like they've got a great team, so I think we're going to hold out on this one.
Steve, given the new rule, the 7-person rule, there is an opportunity for Shannon to maybe go and compete just 2 events. Is that something you may consider?
Well, we were considering that more of it. What we wanted to do was to try to find out what was in the best interest of Shannon's health. She's been competing so many times this year. She's been in 5 international competitions. At some point, you have to have an off season.
Shannon was not your only athlete to qualify to compete here. You had a couple of others. Where are they?
They are training with Shannon in the gym every day. They were at the Goodwill Games this summer, and it was a long competition. They were in 8 different meets in the month of August, and I just decided it was probably in the best interest to keep them out for the fall and train them.
Do they or their families resent not being able to make a world team?
No, it was a group decision. Actually, they felt real good about it. I think next year is going to be a very, very important year for the USA and also for those athletes. And, of course, we've got our eye on Atlanta.
The question I have, Steve, is, you know, it's very important for the U.S. team to uphold their bronze medal finish from the '92 Olympic Games.
Absolutely.
Is that something they can do in November without Shannon Miller?
I'll tell you, this team looks very strong. I think they've got a couple of good young rookies, but they also have some great veterans. And, you know, with the return of Carrie Strug, she looks very good. And Amanda Borden and Dominique just look great, of course, and as always. So I think we've got a very strong team, and they'll come out with a medal for sure.
Steve, let us invite